Today's Premier League transfer show is featuring some big names, and I'm not just referring to the surnames with lots of letters, although I've got a couple of them for you as well. I'm spoiling you today. Some household names and some good Scrabble words as well. And that's where we're going to kick it off with Nick Woltemade, who is becoming a Newcastle United player. The medical is done. He's currently at St James's Park doing his media duties. But Newcastle United, finally, Eddie Howe, finally, the Geordie fan base, finally have a striker. Remember, currently, this is a replacement for Callum Wilson. What a significant upgrade. Yes, the Isak thing still needs to be resolved, but this can allow Newcastle to resolve it how they wish. They were sort of under pressure to keep a hold of Isak, but now, with Woltemade becoming a Geordie, they can do what they want with Isak. They want to keep him, they can keep him. They want to sell him, they can sell him. They're still going to need another striker, and it looks likely to be a Premier League-based striker. However, they tried for Ekitike, they tried for Sesko. It's third Bundesliga striker lucky for Newcastle United. But I think this is a fantastic signing. I'm a fan of him. Hadn't heard of him 12 months ago. I worked up at Stuttgart last season. I like what I've seen. Now, a few months ago, this was my number one target for West Ham. If I could pick a striker for West Ham, this is who it would have been. He finished the season pretty strongly, and then he went on to have a really good campaign with Germany at the Euro under-21s as well. And those months meant it became unrealistic for West Ham United. Plus at 69 million, too expensive for West Ham anyway. But between that and now, Bayern Munich have been expected to sign him. They were in negotiations for ages with Stuttgart to try and get Woltemade, and he wanted to move to Bayern Munich, which German striker doesn't. That is their ideal destination usually. So it felt like Munich was the move that was inevitable for Woltemade, but it hasn't happened. They haven't agreed a deal. So Newcastle's gone in there, and this feels quite quick that it's gone from a couple of days ago to the interest coming out, and then the medical's done today. This has happened fast. Now, £69 million, it ain't cheap, but what striker is cheap? You want a top striker these days, you're paying for it. Is he the complete finished article? No, but I also don't think Ekitike is. However, I think he's more than good enough, absolutely good enough to start for Newcastle immediately. Well, not immediately, he wasn't signed in time to play against Leeds United, but after the international break, more than good enough to lead the line for Newcastle United. I think this is a brilliant signing. He will get a lot of attention because of his height, and he looks like a target man. And don't get me wrong, he's very good in the air, but he's also fantastic with the ball at his feet as well. And I think sometimes height can be deceiving in football. You see the tall guy up front, and it's like, ow, target man, get it up to him, he'll bring it down, he'll flick it on and stuff. And I think sometimes you can almost assume he's perhaps not as good with his feet as perhaps other strikers, but I think he's absolutely brilliant with his feet. When I see him at Stuttgart a lot last season, well, let me rephrase that. That makes me sound like I watch Stuttgart week in, week out. I do not. On the few occasions I did watch Stuttgart, there you go, a lot of the time, he was playing as a second striker as well. So he wasn't always the number 9. He was more a support striker. So he's playing off someone else. And it was the same for Germany at the Euros as well. Quite often they would play 2 strikers, and he would be the one I was always say was mobile. It sounds like he's running down the channels and stuff. He wasn't doing that. But what he was doing is dropping 5-10 yards deeper and linking up with the midfield, because he does have that element to his game as well, where he can get involved in the creative side of things. I think this is a brilliant signing for Newcastle United. Is it their number one target? Clearly not. But when Newcastle were going for Ekitike, when Newcastle were looking at other strikers a month ago, 6 weeks ago, even if you want to go back 2 months ago, when we go back into Mbomo territory, when Newcastle were looking at him, I would strongly argue Woltemade was not available. At the start of the transfer window, he was with Germany under-21s, and then he went through this period, quite a long period, where he was expected to go to Munich. So I don't think a transfer then would have been a goer, really. I think it's now that Munich have pulled away from it, he's become available for Newcastle United. So it could just be a happy accident. I'm not saying that actually he was the number one target, and now it's like, oh, the circumstances have allowed us to go get him. I don't think that's the case. I believe they've just preferred other players. But my point I'm trying to make badly is, even if they wanted him back then, they possibly couldn't have got him. I think this is a really good signing. I think he'll be a success at Newcastle. Now, moving on to one of the players that my brain does not like. I mentioned it before. I'm going to try and mention him again. I'm going to do my best to mention his name correctly. But before I do that, if you're new to Tartan Geo, please do subscribe. Getting close. Well, actually, I'm about 500 away, but 500 subscribers away from 6,000 subscribers, right? Subscribe. You subscribe. And also do drop a like on the video by clicking the thumbs up button. Thank you for the support. Buonanotte. I'm going with that. Buonanotte. Ipswich Town player. It is not an Ipswich Town player. It's a Brighton player who's on loan at Leicester City. And Cisco was the Brighton player on loan at Ipswich Town, who's also going to Chelsea. But Buonanotte is going to Chelsea on loan. Was expected to go to Leeds. Leeds were heavily linked to him in the last couple of days. To be fair, I was ready. He was on my list already. I've just got Buonanotte, Leeds. I've had to score it out and write Chelsea. Feels strange one, this one. But I'll tell you what, I'm getting sick of this. This multi-club ownership thing with Chelsea and Strasbourg, because they're not even hiding it. It's not even like when Enciso's going to Strasbourg, they're putting it out there. The plan is he'll go to Chelsea eventually. Basically, he's going to become a Chelsea player, but he's not quite good enough for Chelsea. They don't need him yet. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put him in Strasbourg for a little bit, and then when we feel like he's developed enough, we're going to move him over to the main club, which is Chelsea. And now this is a loan move, which doesn't really feel like it could be that. Maybe he's just going to Chelsea for squad depth. But what I don't like is when the journalists are putting it out there, oh, Buonanotte to Chelsea, but they're not just saying Chelsea, they're saying Blueco to reference the group of clubs. I don't like it. It doesn't sit well with me, this. I know they can do different ownerships and stuff like that, and it allows them to get by all the rules and regulations, but it just feels... It feels like cheating, doesn't it? It feels like cheating. Not keen on it. Anyway, Buonanotte, great player. I just think it's a bit of a waste to go there. I think he should go to Leeds. Go to Leeds, be one of their main players. They're screaming out for a player like him in that attack. Get yourself to Leeds United. Go up to Ellen Road. Become a fan's favourite. They will love you there. You play well. You work hard. They will love you. Go there and become a hero. Don't just become a bit part player for Blueco. Anyway, someone that's turned Blueco down is Javi Simmons. He's off to Spurs instead. This reminds me of Son. Son was one of my favourite players outside the Premier League. Then when he went from Leverkusen to Spurs, I was disappointed. I thought, oh, I liked him. Simmons, one of my favourite players outside the Premier League. And now he's off to Spurs. I'm almost like not allowed to like you anymore. I've now got to dislike you as a player. But as a footballer, I absolutely love him. My kind of player. Technical player, really creative, really skillful, got an eye for goal. The way he moves, the way he plays football, it ticks all the boxes for me. This is a bit of a coup for Tottenham. And it's not to say Tottenham aren't good enough to attract a player like Javi Simmons. They absolutely are, right? They are. The reason I think it's a bit of a coup is because Chelsea have been after him all summer. He's been strongly linked to Chelsea right up until now. The expectation was he was going to go to Chelsea. It was just a case of when. And suddenly Spurs have gone in there and got him. So how Tottenham fans feel right now is how Arsenal fans felt when Eze chose them over Spurs. Well, Spurs fans are now feeling it. Nicking Simmons off of Chelsea. This is an outstanding signing for them. You can just see where he's going to play as well, because currently Thomas Frank's been using Sarr as a number 10. Now, he's been playing well in that role, don't get me wrong, but he's not that type of player. I think Sarr is a number 8, box-to-box midfielder, and you'll have a great future at Spurs. I'm confident of that. And with the injury to Maddison, it sort of meant that Frank could do with someone in the transfer market to fulfil that creative role in their team. Now, the fixtures have allowed Spurs to be okay without any pressure. Burnley at home is an easy enough fixture to get by without it. Then City away. And I imagine if they were playing, City away in a month or Liverpool away in a month, they may not play Simmons in that number 10 role. They may go back to Sarr. Because as we've seen with Brentford, Thomas Frank is very, very tactically flexible. He'll go from a back three to a back four at Brentford. Away to the big six, back three. Home, back four. Away to someone like West Ham, back four. He would have a different game plan for different groups of teams. At Spurs, when he went away to Man City and played a back four, I thought that was quite a statement from him. But he had Sarr in that number 10 role. Now, few options for him at this point, but I do think maybe his plan when playing away to other teams that are in the big six or Champions League contenders like Newcastle, you might see Sarr in there. But certainly when they're at home and they're away to the likes of West Ham and Brentford, I think you'll see Simmons in there. I think this is an excellent signing for Spurs. Frustratingly, someone else that Chelsea have chased all summer though, looks like they're going to finally get the man, is Garnacho. Man U have been needing him out. Chelsea have been wanting him in. They've just played the waiting game because they know Garnacho wants Chelsea. Garnacho's always wanted Chelsea. Chelsea's always wanted Garnacho. Both parties are aware. Man U are very aware. Chelsea have just waited. The price has been dropping bit by bit all summer. It was 70, then it was 65, then it was 60, then it was 55, now it's 50. I've seen it could go as low as 35 plus add-ons. Chelsea are picking up a bargain. Make no mistake about it, Garnacho is a very, very talented player. He's just clashed with Ruben Amorim. That's it. Amorim doesn't like him, the way his personality is. He's got an issue with a few other players at Man United as well. And Man U may regret this, because if Amorim walks away or they sack Amorim very soon, they might find that they've just sold one of their better players for a heavy discount and backed a guy that's not even here at Christmas. This is a risk by Man U. This is where they've got to have serious conversations at that club and say, are we confident this guy's going to be here on Christmas Day? Because if the answer is no, we should not be sanctioning this move. Let Garnacho play under 21s, because if this guy leaves, one way or another, the next manager might use Garnacho. He might play a back four. He might play Garnacho on the left wing. Whatever, if Garnacho's going for 35 now, if he plays no games on January the 1st, I'm quite confident someone would still pay 35 million to get him out of Man United if Ruben Amorim was still there. I just feel like Man U do not need to be doing this deal, but I think it's a very good one for Chelsea. My team have made a signing. We've got Matheus Fernandes in from Southampton. 43 million, 41 million, whatever it is. It's expensive. It's a lot of money. But I like him. I think he's a great player. Really good technical midfielder. We're obviously bringing him in to be a number 8/number 10, depending on how we play and who we play. Defensively is probably the answer. Badly is also the answer. But I think this is an excellent addition. I think it's a big upgrade on who he's replacing in the squad. So bringing the average age of the squad down. In terms of, like, if I was to ignore how we're playing in the league, in terms of collectively, I quite like our signings actually. We've got in a young goalkeeper, a young left wing back, a young midfielder here. We're supposed to be getting Magassa, another young midfielder. We are bringing in lower end 20-year-olds here. I like it. This is what we've been screaming out for. Investing in younger players who will improve and their value will also grow at West Ham United. So Fernandes to West Ham is done. It's been announced. He can play on Sunday. I am very happy with that deal. Yeremy Pino has been announced by Crystal Palace from Villarreal. So they've got their man. They're going to be spending big money. They've been linked to a couple of other players. Some of them are north of 40 million as well. We'll discuss that tomorrow or Sunday maybe. But Palace have spent money and they've got more to spend. Aston Villa could finally be a way to sign another player. Marco Asensio, who was obviously on loan for the second half of the season. He is being heavily linked with a move back to Villa Park. They definitely need something. I think he looked good in the second half of last season. I enjoyed watching him play. My only reservation over it is I think it impacted Morgan Rogers. I think Morgan Rogers wasn't as good when Asensio was there because he took that number 10 role. I prefer Rogers in there compared to seeing Rogers sort of moved out wide one way or another. But certainly a very talented player. Emery clearly knows him well. He knows Aston Villa. I think this is a good move as well. Maybe a bit of that though. Even his wage package feels expensive. And lastly, we've got Hayden Hackney being linked to Wolves. We've got contradicting reports though. Hackney's been linked to Wolves. Previously, West Ham, Everton, Ipswich had agreed a deal, but that didn't go through. But the last couple of days, Middlesbrough reports from coming out of their side of it is that he's not for sale at any price anymore, that you could have bought him, no one did, so he's staying and that's it. It's too close to the deadline, which I think is the right attitude for a club to have, especially when it started quite well this season too. In terms of Wolves, I think this would be a good signing. I am watching Wolves. I'm watching you, Wolves. I think you need to make signings. I see Larsson's missing this injury with us. Larsson is out. I think he's going to miss this weekend's game against Everton with a small injury. That's suspicious, isn't it? I'm not the only one. This weekend, I'm watching all of you. All 20 of you clubs. I'm looking for small injuries, niggles, doubts, colds and flus. I am looking at you, all your squads. Wolves, Larsson. We see you. He's got a small knock. Yeah, I bet he does. To what? His ego. The latest is that Larsson has asked Wolves to leave, but their boss man, I can't remember his name, and I don't want to guess and get it wrong. Now I'm trying to guess it. Is it Shy? She? Is that his name? He's told him no. He said, you're not going. You're not going in this window. He didn't say you're not going ever. You're stuck at them all in you for the rest of your life. He just said you're not going in this window. It's too close. It's absolutely too close for Wolves to sell him. Unless they know exactly who they're going to go get and they can actually get him. I have one possible scenario for Wolves here. And I don't know if the person I'm going to mention is up for a move to the Molineux. I'm going to throw it out there. Let me know what you think. Not just about what I'm going to say, but anything. Discuss any transfer rumour you want in the comments below. Don't be shy. I like it. I like reading your comments. Wolves could sell Larsson to Newcastle. 65 million. They could replace him with Wissa, Brentford. Because that's still a problem. And it's all Newcastle, he's at Newcastle, he's at. But actually there's a Brentford Wissa thing going on here as well. And that is, what happens if Newcastle don't buy Wissa? Have they got a solution there? Do Brentford know what they're doing? Does Wissa know what he's doing? And Newcastle doesn't go back in for him? Because Newcastle got Woltemade now. That's one. They need another one. And it feels like it's Larsson or Wissa. Well, what happens if they somehow get Larsson? And what's happening with Wissa and Brentford? Maybe he could go to the Molineux. A little bit of a transfer triangle thing going on there. Obviously, Brentford need their own replacement, although they've been linked to that other German striker, haven't they? I think they have. I think I've seen them linked to a German striker. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, you've already dropped a like on the video. If not, please do that now. Subscribe to Tartan, and I'll catch you tomorrow.